Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. When it comes to places to stay in the Smokies, the name to know is Ogle. The Ogle family have been in the hospitality business literally since the National Park first opened, day one. Check out all their cabin options that they have available. They know hospitality. Check out all their cabin options at parksideCabinRentals.com. They have all the layouts right there. You can pick it right on the website, and trust me, whether you're looking for a spot for 2 or a spot for 20, they've got it. Plus, when you go with them, free parking in downtown Gatlinburg. Parkside Cabin Rentals. All right, Jimmy Hyams recently spoke to a couple of agents about NFL draft prospects for the NFL draft prospects for Tennessee. I went back also and found a couple of things this week, so we've thrown it together into a list that you can see on your screen right here. If you guys want to ooh and ah and agree or disagree very quickly, that's all we have time for. But Trey Smith, don't expect him to be back next year. If he's healthy, it's a possibility he could go rounds 1 to 3, depending on how those health tests come out. I'm guessing everybody agrees with that. Darrell Taylor, going to be edge rusher at the next level. Rounds 2, 3. Agents told Jimmy he could possibly be first round if he has the right workouts.
Nope.
I disagree with that one. I mean, just consistency on the field and playing on the run. I mean, there's a couple areas.
All it takes is one person to fall in love with you.
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
But you're right. Okay, I was surprised by those second, third round. Marquez Callaway, rounds 4 to 7. They told Jimmy that the punt returning could help. Speed might hurt. Daniel Batuli, rounds 4 to 7. Health concerns, a possibility there. Juwan Jennings, rounds 4 to 7. He's going to have to answer for character issues in terms of that online tirade he had. Speed could hurt him.
I think he's answered for that personally.
Yeah.
Well, I still bet you that they're going to.
They're going to ask.
Oh, yeah, they're going to ask.
But
yeah,
I think he can win that, turn it to an advantage, not a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Well, Jalen Hurd managed to dance around. His was more bizarre than what Juwan Jennings did. Yeah. Nigel Warrior, late rounds, maybe. Dominic Wood-Anderson, late rounds, maybe. And I said this, Riley Levengood was mentioned. Long snappers, you never know. I mean, Morgan Cox signed as an undrafted free agent with the Ravens out of Tennessee in 2010. He's still playing.
Yeah.
As a long snapper, and I don't know that we ever said the name Morgan Cox when he was at Tennessee.
Right.
So, he could go. Lovingood could be an undrafted guy. If somebody sees him in the 7th round and says we need one of those, he could be a guy. So anyway, here's the point of that segment. Earlier this year, you had people saying, "Let's go to the youth movement, bench all the Butch guys." Okay, well now the Butch guys are kind of the ringleaders on the team in a lot of ways. What does this do for your outlook for 2020? Does it change it in terms of, okay, well, it's going to be all this. Well, now you look at it and go, well, how are you going to replace that and that? You worried about them replacing it, or do you think, they got it?
I think I'm worried about it for a couple reasons. Not necessarily the talent leaving, but the leadership leaving. Daniel Batuli not in the first 2 games. Yeah. Clear difference of how people got lined up and where they were on the field. Also, Juwan Jennings, your emotional and other side of the ball leader, he's gone as well. Who steps up and replaces that? Trey Smith, your attitude guy on the offensive line, leading a bunch of young guys if this is how you play the game. So to me, you have a severe leadership gap. Mm-hmm. Where does that come from? I'm not as worried about can they find some pieces of talent to put in there in a couple spots, but really the leadership is you're losing a big part of that in what's set the culture and set some of the tone this year.
Well, if you're just looking at positions, your wide receiver position is going to be a pretty big hole right there.
Callaway and Jennings, they are so good at contested catches, the tough catches, and I think this team has been, maybe struggling for the big play, for the big chunk plays, and they're getting it from those contested catches. So that's something I wonder about replacing next year.
And I think as tough as it's going to be to replace Batuli's leadership, at least he's been out there with a true freshman the entire season, and Toa has been able to see, okay, this is what it is. This is the knowledge you have to have, and this is the leadership you have to have. So as big as a leader as he is, he might be more easily replaced than Juwan Jennings or Trey Smith because he's had a guy there beside him the entire time learning these things.
Yeah, I think that's I would agree with Will's point. I think you've got some pieces in terms of the You mentioned To'o. You mentioned some of those guys that I think can replace the sort of knowledge aspect of it. The intensity is where I have a question of, especially on the offensive line, especially with Jennings. I don't know if they have that grab your teammate by the scruff of his neck guy. Is that Jameer Johnson? Maybe, possibly. I don't think it's any of your quarterbacks necessarily. Nope. That's where I think you're right. I think in terms of the attitude, they're going to have to find that in the offseason. I think To'o can, with another offseason, knowing his football IQ and his work ethic, I think they'll be okay in that area. But, yeah, the emotional aspect of it and the sort of locker room part of it, because you're talking about this team had such a rough start and then rallied. I think those guys can get some credit for that.
All right. We got to catch a break. Left Jarrett Garantano, not expected to be drafted, but could be departing. Matter of fact, we thought he would be departing. I think most did. Will he? Should Tennessee want him back? We'll discuss that a little later. I'll leave that as a tease for you a little later on Jarrett Garantano. Up next, we're going to talk about the signing class that Tennessee just brought in very quickly, but also what are the biggest obstacles the Tennessee basketball team has to overcome to reach an NCAA tournament. Come on back on the Sports Source.